In a big NewsX exclusive, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has spoken to NewsX's Editor-in-Chief Rishabh Gulati, and during this engaging conversation, the Prime Minister has spoken extensively about the politics of appeasement and secularism in India. He stressed that a false narrative was peddled for over 75 years through a very well-crafted conspiracy. In this regard, he sharpened his attack at the Congress party and emphasized that they hide behind their politics of appeasement and instead accuse him of being communal. He also took a jibe at them and said that those communal parties that wear the niqab of secularism and indulge in hardcore communalism are hardcore sectarians, extremely casteist and hardcore dynasts. Not just this, just a day back, he also trained his guns at Rahul Gandhi and doubled down on his appeasement charge against the Congress by sharing an old video of Rahul in which he has purportedly supported reservation for Muslims. PM Modi called it the real face of the grand old party. Now, before we slip into this telecast and debate, let's quickly listen in to what the Prime Minister said on this issue in this exclusive interview.
ये जोर जोर से सेकुलरिज्म क्यों चिल्लाते हैं? इसलिए चिल्लाते हैं कि उनको जो उनकी कम्युनल एक्टिविटी है उससे दुनिया का वो ध्यान हटाना चाहते हैं, और वो चोर इसलिए कह रहे हैं कि चोरी खुद ने की है, लेकिन चोर उधर तो लोग उधर भागेंगे। ये उनका खेल चला है। मैंने उनको सामने से ही पकड़ा है कि आप ही कम्युनल हो। भारत का संविधान आपको सांप्रदायिक तौर तरीके के लिए अनुमति नहीं देता है, और मैंने ऐसे सैकड़ों उदाहरण निकाले हैं। और जैसा मैंने अभी थोड़ी देर पहले कहा कि उन्होंने मुसलमानों को संपत्ति का कहा था, तो मैं उनको पूरी तरह एक्सपोज कर रहा हूँ। लेकिन उनके जो नैरेटिव बनाने वाले हैं वे उनकी बात को छुपा देते हैं, और मेरे मुंह से मुसलमान शब्द निकला तो वो कम्युनल। मैं उन कम्युनल पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज के लिए बोल रहा हूँ जिन्होंने सेकुलरिज्म का नकाब पहन करके गौर सांप्रदायिकता की है।
And the five big questions that we will raise today on our discussion: was the secularism tag used to hide blatantly communal policies against Hindus? Have Muslims been sold appeasement to hide lack of community growth? Who is guilty of hardcore communalism? Is it the BJP or is it the Congress? Have lack of Muslim personal and education reforms helped or hurt the community? And is secularism best served by focusing on identity or totally ignoring it? Well, joining us at this point is Sumit Peer, political commentator. We also have Athar Zia, Empower panelist, joining us live. Syed Asad Abbas, political analyst, is live with us on the broadcast. Ratan Sharda, author and columnist, also joins us on the broadcast. Ratan Sharda, let me bring you in here first. The Prime Minister weighing in on the politics of secularism, saying that there are some parties who pretend to be secular but have been hardcore communal against Hindus and have also been guilty of appeasement over the years. Do you agree with the Prime Minister's claims, Ratan Sharda? And why do you believe these parties have tried to cloak their appeasement and communalism with the garb of secularism?
Mr. Gulati, good evening. In fact, I have written a cover story for organizer about the appeasement policy of Congress since independence. I have not gone before independence, so let us start from independence. I will not get into the entire article. It's a long article. The point is that everybody knows that at every turn of event in Indian politics, wherever there is a chance, Congress and then its allies later on have played communal card to the worst possible extent, including giving clean chit to Muslim League, which has, if you go by an article today in Pioneer, they have been able to put down any leader who has spoken against them. That is the kind of secularism whom Rahul Gandhi, also certified as secular, has happened. And let me just pick up today's article by Dilip Mandal, Professor Dilip Mandal, no friend of BJP. He has given an article in the print where it says the right to education amendment 93A. First of all, 93A was never required. If you want to reserve 25% seats for SC, ST and economically backward communities, there was no need to give exemption to minority communities, because minority communities, especially Christian schools, and Christian educations are one of the best education institutions. Why they could not accommodate those backward people in their education institution, I don't know. Not only that, after this particular amendment, which was an amendment which resulted in only Hindu schools closing down year after year, 1,000 schools closed down in every state because compensation was never paid, and only they carried the load of the secularism. Not only that, the number of institutions who were exempt rose from 750 to 2,000 in 2 years or 3 years under UPA. So what is that? Waqf Board Act 1995, what was that? When you give absolute right to authority to take up any land saying it's mine, and you also give judicial power, judicial executive power, where they will decide and they will be treated as public servants. Remember, as per Waqf Board 1995, what is that? Reservation on religious grounds, Karnataka, Telangana, wherever Congress is, even now it has said that we will go by personal laws. In the new manifesto, talks about reservation based on religious grounds. These are all very clear indications that we're not even going to back,
Yes.
to old history. This is all recent, last few days history. So this is the background of Congress party, and Modi ji exposed it.
Absolutely. Okay. So you believe that it's exposing, of course, the appeasement policies of the Congress party by Prime Minister Modi. That's what he's referred to in this interview as well. Let's try and also bring in Rishabh Gulati now, Editor-in-Chief of NewsX, who is live with us now on the broadcast. Rishabh, clearly, of course, Prime Minister weighing in on this secularism versus appeasement debate, saying that there are certain parties who, accuse him of being communal, but, he's the one who's actually practicing real secularism. And they've tried to, hide their appeasement under this naqab, as he calls it, or garb of secularism.
No, I think, Uday, and for people watching this broadcast, I think the PM is going one step beyond that. I don't think he's simply saying that they're hiding appeasement in the name of secularism. He has very clearly and repeatedly said that gross communalism was going on in the name of secularism. What is he then alluding to? Gross communalism against whom? Now that is the point of conversation. For 75 years, the Prime Minister says that gross communalism was going on in the name of secularism. One has to impute that communalism was going on against whom? Against the Hindus. That every effort was made to prevent the Ram Mandir from being built. That every effort was made to ensure that in conversations in this country, if you said anything alluding to your Hindu faith, if you said Vande Mataram, it's a problem. If you say Jai Shri Ram, it's a problem. I'm a Punjabi. Sat Sri Akal is not a problem. Allah Akbar is not a problem. It's not a problem. None of us have a problem with it. So why should one be apologetic about saying Ram Ram? It's a common parlance of saying hello in a large part of the country. When you look at fundamental things, that when it comes to educational institutions, minorities can run educational institutions, but the majority cannot. Even if the Hindus are in a minority in J&K, they can't run an educational institution. If you look at the powers that are given to the Waqf Board, if you look at the personal laws, what is he saying? He is saying that this brandishment was done of secularism. But instead, communalism was taking place. And it was not taking place against the Muslims, it was taking place against, one has to allude, the Hindu community. And there are several examples which can be found on that. So we have heard the conversation before that this is appeasement being hidden. Appeasement, what does appeasement mean? Appeasement means you actually do nothing, but you pretend to do a lot or promise to do a lot. So you change the preamble of the Constitution to add the word secularism, and yet 4 decades, 5 decades, 6 decades after that constitutional preamble was changed, we are still in a position where we are saying that the minorities require affirmative action like quotas to uplift them. If the word secularism change was more impactful to the Muslim community than actual upliftment, it's a serious thought process of what is the preferable mode. So I think he's gone at least one level above and above that. And you would find many people will disagree with him. A lot of people will agree with him that you almost had to be apologetic about being a Hindu in India, you almost had to be apologetic about raising questions that, listen, if you ask a question in this country that is it okay for somebody to say triple talaq over WhatsApp, you are interfering. If you say that should there be educational reform in madrasas, you are Hindu nationalists interfering. We could have found compromise solutions to Ayodhya. We can find compromise solutions to Gyanvapi in Kashi, even in Mathura. We can find compromise solutions, many things. It is possible. But when the reverse is taking place, I mean, look at the example that you just ran on your screens. We have a problem in the world. It's not an Indian problem. It's got nothing to do with Indian Muslims per se, but we have a problem in the world of radical terrorism. But when you sit down and say, how do I balance this out? Let me balance it out by saying saffron terror, Hindu terrorists, so that the conversation is balanced out. No, a spade is a spade. This is what it is. Now, is that then communalism against Hindus or not? We let people judge.
Okay, let me take that across to Sumit Peer. Sumit Peer, do you believe then that it's the Congress that's guilty of hardcore communalism, as the Prime Minister, of course, is referring to, and has it been, you believe, difficult for people to actually say that they are Hindu, because there has been this, this communalism, as the Prime Minister says, over the years against that community, and appeasement, which certain parties, obviously one party, as the Prime Minister is referring to, has been practicing in the garb of secularism.
Uday, thank you very much for having me on your show, and congratulations, Rishabh ji, for the fantastic interview. Look forward at 9 o'clock. Well, I completely concur with the views of the Honorable Prime Minister and what Rishabh ji was just saying right now. Look, you have Waqf Board. You have Dr. Manmohan Singh ji talking that Muslims have the first right of the resources of the country. You had to overturn the Shah Banu case. A Kashmir happened, a Kairana happened. So many things happened. Waqf Board is the third richest body on the planet in India, holding the maximum land banks. You have imams getting the salary, you don't have pujaris getting the salary. Proceeds from the temple go to the government, but from a masjid or a church and all, they don't go to the government. So when you look at this blatant appeasement, and Mamta Didi gets very worked out if you say Jai Shri Ram in West Bengal. If you say Ram Ram, you will have problems. There's the national broadcaster, one of the editors told on record that I was wearing this kalawa, and I was told in the UPA tenure, bhai ye kalawa laga ke aap office nahi aa sakte, you can't enter the office. So these were the kind of notions which were built around it. Jai Shri Ram is a war cry. Har Har Mahadev is a war cry. While as Rishabh ji was completely saying Allah Akbar is completely fine, Sat Sri Akal is completely fine, hello is all good. There's no problem with the hello. So these notions were silently built into it, that the temples are demolished in Tamil Nadu. Nobody is talking about it. And when the Kashmir happened, what did Congress do? Did they even raise a hue and cry? Did they try to stop it? No, they didn't try to stop it. And the people who orchestrated Kashmir are their alliance partners today. Is Umar Abdullah and Farooq Abdullah their alliance partners today? So you have to see the true colors of Congress, which wanted to do blatant Muslim appeasement at the cost and rather cannibalizing Hindu faith, Hindu identity, and anything and what Hindus were proud of. You cannot talk about Gyanvapi, you cannot talk about Kashi, you cannot talk about Mathura, you cannot talk about anything. Anything that is Hindu, you cannot talk about. There was a goddamn problem which was created to an extent that you will be apologetic in calling yourself a Hindu. Aapko sharm aayegi main Hindu kyun? And Hindus were made to hide their faith. You were not supposed to wear a kalawa, you were not supposed to wear a tika, you were not even supposed to wear a kurta pajama. You were all supposed to look like those semi-westernized individuals and having that so-called secularism. And when somebody talks about anything against Hinduism, you pretend you have not heard. And if somebody talks about any other minority, you have to raise hue and cry, because that left liberalism, urban nationalism is the name of the game. If you are not seen there, you are not going to grow, you are not going to develop, you will not be seen as so-called intellectual. To be seen as an intellectual, you have to be left liberal.
So it's been a conspiracy over the years, is what Sumit is saying as well. Syed Asad Abbas come in here on this big statement by Prime Minister Modi in this interview on this secularism versus appeasement debate. In fact, he's gone a step further to even say that certain parties have practiced communalism against the majority community over the years. Now, what is your reaction to what he said, Syed Abbas? And also, do you believe that there has been a lack of reforms, both educational, Muslim, personal, which have hurt the community at the end of the day? They've obviously not benefited the community, have they? This slow pace of reforms.
Uday Sahab, firstly, hearty congratulations to Team NewsX and also the ITV network. I'm absolutely looking forward to see Rishabh Gulati Sahab and the Pradhan Mantri Modi ji's interview. Long awaited today 9 p.m. I'm absolutely glued to the NewsX screens. Now coming straight to the point. You know, it's always I've always believed in the words of Allama Iqbal, who said, "Sare jahan se acha Hindustan hamara, hum bulbule hain iske ye gulsata hamara." Let me reiterate my point to Uday Saab that for especially Muslims, there is no better place than India. I'd remarkably say even beyond Indonesia, which has the first largest majority of Muslims than India. Also, as a matter of fact, let me tell you, I was the one who took note and also said it on Twitter and many media fronts when my Hindu brothers were called as terrorists by Digvijay Singh, who used the word saffron terror. I unequivocally condemn that. I've known my Hindu brothers and largely lived with them in my society building. And I would say it's a beautiful way of living and not just a religion. Now, coming to the politics part of it. Yes, in fact, the part which one of my friend Sumit mentioned, you mentioned, is absolutely right. You know, the Congress party largely, even if you take the Justice Rajinder Sachar committee report over the last several years that they were there, the so-called Muslim appeasement has not been done by the Congress party. Muslims, even after the 70 years of the Congress rule, has been the most backward class as per Ranganath Mishra Committee, Chinnappa Reddy Commission and Sachar Committee report in terms of socially, politically, economically, education, unemployment, all of that. They've been most behind. And now also coming to the appeasement front, the fact of the matter is, let me also raise a few questions to the Bharatiya Janata Party. Bharatiya Janata Party spoke of Siddaramaia's appeasement here in Karnataka, but
Yes.
they did not speak of what happens in Gujarat. Let me give some startling facts here. Over the last 20 years in Gujarat, 22 castes of Muslim community are given reservation under the OBC quota. For the last 25 years in Madhya Pradesh, 27 castes of Muslims are given reservation under the OBC quota. Not just that, Assam, Manipur, including Uttar Pradesh, where 2 subcastes of Muslims are given reservation under OBC quota. I've always believed that this, be it Congress or the Bharatiya
Ratan
Janata
Sharda,
Party,
your response.
both of them should not, just 30 seconds I'm done, sir. Both of them should not resort to any kind of reservation based on this. And my last point, also, I believe that Pradhan Mantri Modi ji, the whole world looks up to him. He's a Vishwa Guru undoubtedly. He's the leader among the leaders. He's the world leaders who look up to him. But when he says infiltrators, when he says zyada bachche karne wale, when he says they're going to come for your Mangal Sutra, I believe that is not the word of a
Ratan
prime
Sharda, your
minister. I
response.
think that could have been better.
Let me begin from where he started, that is the reservation for Muslims under OBC quota. Now, this reservation to Muslims under OBC quota has been going around for years together, for decades together. If BJP just carried on that particular thing, it is one thing to give reservation under a particular OBC caste or SC/ST caste, though I don't agree with it, because the entire narrative of Islam and Christianity is that there is no caste in the religion. So the very basis of this argument falls. But even if it was there, it was a particular caste. Now what Congress is talking is about the blanket reservation, which means Muslims as such will get reservation in which Ashrafs, Ajlafs, everybody is there. It is not just for Ajlaf or Pasmanda. It is for every Muslim. That is the difference. So it is religious-based reservation on which we are talking about. Secondly, I will remind you that communal violence bill was one of the worst bills that was brought by Congress, which fell because of very huge outrage, which made Hindus per se, a priori, accused of any violence, any communal violence. They would have to prove their innocence without knowing who's actually blaming them, who is accusing them. So this worst kind of, charge on Hindus was created by Congress. Of course, I'll talk of Hindu terror also. I already talked about that. And also Sachar committee report, if you really think about it, it is actually a damnation of the entire communal narrative of Hindu-Muslim and also of Muslims being given appeasement, because they were only provided appeasement in terms of religious places. So we have Place of Worship Act, which did not benefit Muslims at all.
Right.
It did not benefit them economically. All the policies were around आप मस्जिद आप कहाँ पर नमाज पढ़ेंगे, आप पढ़ेंगे कहाँ, आपका ट्रिपल तलाक अलाउड है कि नहीं अलाउड है. Was any act done for their betterment in economic terms? So Bengal, 30 years of communist rule, the most progressive party, followed by Mamata Banerjee, most appeasing political party ever saw in India. Under them also, why Muslims are most backward. There is something that we studied, that a Modi ji who is calling Hindu-Muslim is able to bring up the best possible economic benefits and social benefits of Muslims, then why are we opposing Modi ji? Whether it's economical upliftment, whether their gender justice, everywhere Modi ji is doing something for them. Instead of that, he is called communal. Just like in case of Kashmir, those who talked of integration of Kashmir with India were called communal, and those who wanted separate laws for being a Muslim majority state called secular. That is the tragedy of our entire narrative of secularism and Hindu-Muslim divide.
Come in here, Atarzia. Atarzia, come in here on what you make of this charge by Prime Minister saying that certain parties have hidden their appeasement under the garb of secularism. Also, is it fair to say that there has been communalism against the Hindu community for many, many years in the country? And do you believe also, Atarzia, big question, that Muslims have been sold appeasement to hide lack of community growth in the country?
Uday, you are right that most of the political parties, they have exploited religious sentiment for their political gain. And it has become a sanctioned things to get into the power. Now you see in last 70, 80 years, Muslim share in business, in employment, in education, in various other fields is much below than their population percentage, hardly 3, 4, 5%. So as they are very backward. Modi ji has done the scale and speed of development, and of course, all the welfare scheme has been delivered in a very impartial way. So the benefit has gone to Muslim also. But the culture, the environment of the society has to be a very, very human, and brotherhood should be there so that the hate should get lost. So for that, Modi ji should endeavor so that the third layer, fourth layer, and second layer of political people, the fringe elements, should not think that by hating, by giving very controversial remarks, by demeaning any community, you will not get the right kind of, appreciation or the ladder to climb on your political platform. So those things has to be taken care of, and equal opportunity should be given to everybody, which is there, and let the system, the policy work. I think we are getting matured as a democracy, as well as we are in the phase of in that phase of development where I am very sure that very soon these things will be very fast, and we will be all treated as Indian, as human beings. That is what I think. I'm sure it will be done. You were talking about educational institution. I think 0.0001% institution may be managed by Muslims or the minorities. But
no, I'm talking about education reforms in the Muslim community, be it madrasas or be it other educational institutes. And personal law. That's what I was referring to, Muslim personal law. And educational reforms in madrasas. That's what I was referring to.
I am done. 30 seconds.
Sir, you are giving a very vague answer. I was very specific in my question. आप तो घुमा रहे हैं बात को.
बताइए. Tell me.
I'm talking about Muslim personal law and madrasas and other educational reforms in them. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about institutes which are governed by Hindus or Muslims.
Yeah, Uday, you are right. The Muslim personal law reform should be there. It has to be there. And triple talaq has gone. Very welcome move. as well as madrasa reform.
Okay.
Madrasa reform is the most important thing.
Yes, it should have
because
happened earlier, is what you're clearly saying. Okay, Atar Zia, very quickly. According to you, then, do you believe that the Congress has been guilty of appeasement or the BJP?
You're asking me or
Yes.
Salim?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, I'm asking you, Atar Zia. Then is it the Congress that has been communal or the BJP?
No, this is a specific question. As I told you, all the political parties are doing their, this kind of religion, a bit of, and Congress, of course, was, doing nothing and making lot of, as you said, the appeasement thing, just for the vote bank of politics. It is absolutely right.
Right.
Yes, Sumit Peer. Sumit Peer disagrees with you. Sumit, go ahead first. I'll come to you, Said Abbas. Sumit is disagreeing with Atar Zia.
It is very simple that Congress wanted to keep Muslims uneducated, wanted them to keep as a vote bank, and in that fray, they lost the control how much, where is the Lakshman Rekha. They kept on going and going and going. They thought Hindus are a deprived lot. That is why Rahul Gandhi still talks about Jatigat Janaganna. He wants to divide Hindus on Yadav, Jat, Kurmi, Brahman, and 36 tarah ka Brahman, 15 tarah ka Jat. You know, he wants to divide the community. And that divided lot could never be a political problem for him. That united Hindu is a political problem for him. That is why he is talking about. And Uday, if we talk about what happened to the Hindus in last 75 years, what is communal in that? If there was a cannibalization of Hindu faith done and it is being discussed, what is communal in that? And what has Modi ji done communal? One scheme, one policy, anything where there's a discrimination on the basis of religion, anybody on planet Earth, out of 8 billion people, if anybody can point one thing, there is no discrimination. While in Congress, there was very clear cut demarcation and discrimination. That is what Modi era has brought. And let me address another issue. From very beginning, OBCs included in every state Muslims. STs in some states include Muslims. For example, in J&K, Bakrawals are Muslims, they are STs. Recently, a Bakrawal guy, a Muslim Bakrawal, was nominated to Rajya Sabha from the J&K after the abrogation of 370. This is what 370 has done.
Yes.
So only STs
No,
are...
you're right on that. You're right on that. Said Abbas, very quickly.
Very quickly, the point I'd like to make is, Rishabh Gulati Sahab in the opening, he mentioned that, absolutely no problem with Sat Sri Akal, Allahu Akbar, or Jai Shri Ram, so on and so forth. Absolutely. I think that is the plurality and inclusivity of my beautiful nation. I completely agree with that. But I still did not get my answer. If there is a problem with appeasing Hindus or Muslims with respect to the OBC quota, then Bharatiya Janata Party was in all its might in Gujarat.
No, but Ratan Sharda countered that. Ratan Sharda countered that. Ratan Sharda.
No, he didn't counter, sir. He said it's been giving for a long time. When it's been giving for a long time, why didn't BJP put a stop to it?
Criteria.
Why
Just
didn't
economic
BJP?
criteria. Except SCs, STs, all the quotas
Sir,
should be
I'm
economic
speaking.
criteria.
Mr. Attar, wait. This is my turn. Thank you. So the fact of the matter is, when Narendra Modi ji was there, Shivraj Singh Chauhan was there, Yogi ji is there now, what is making them stop not give Muslim caste reservation under the OBC quota?
Sumit.
Then don't you think it's to give what belongs to the OBC quota to the Muslim? Isn't this a sort of an appeasement?
Okay. You made your point. I'm running out of time. Ratan Sharda, you want to quickly answer that?
Infiltrators.
So, Asad Abbas, you made your point. Let him answer now.
Mr. Sumit Peer and myself clearly said we are opposed to religious-based blanket reservation.
Yes.
Point. Secondly, more importantly, when we keep on saying कि मुसलमानों के लिए ये करो वो
why
करो,
didn't BJP stop, sir?
Or why Maulanas?
Why didn't BJP stop giving reservation under OBC
Don't keep on argument. You want to create new conflicts?
No,
That's
you're not answering.
I said we are against religious quota. Finish. Now, point is when you say Modi ने ये करना चाहिए, अरे बाबा चुप करो ना, आगे पढ़ने दो ना. Please let me move ahead. Let me move ahead. I have answered. Don't keep on arguing. I have already answered.
No, hear him out. No, Asad Abbas, this is very unfair. You had a fair say. He didn't interrupt you. Now you have to let him speak as well. If you disagree with him, you put your point now. Please. Now hear him out, and I need to take a break. 30 seconds.
See, just a moment. My moot point is, are Maulanas, Maulis not responsible for creating right environment for their community? Why is the responsibility of Mr. Modi to cajole Muslims to come to school, to cajole Muslims to join mainstream, and cajole them to give up extremism? Okay. What are Maulanas doing every day? They are talking of we are...
No. What do you mean Maulanas are doing Sartan se juda?
They are talking of Sartan se juda. They are talking constitutional... What kind of a
Sharia is above
statement is
constitution?
that?
What are they
What kind
telling
of a
them?
generalized statement? is
Okay,
that?
okay, okay, okay.
Are you
Let's.
listening to what
We
he's
are
saying?
digressing now from the topic. Atarzia made a very good point earlier that he agreed that reforms should have happened earlier, both personal law and educational ones, and he welcomes it if there are reforms now being done to madrasa education. Let's not generalize and let's not digress. We've had a positive debate. We've had a focused debate. Now we are digressing. So I'm going to thank you all because we've run completely out of time.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.